Okay.
Hello, everyone, and this is Syed here from Research Leads. And I've been actually having a few conversations recently over the last few weeks from entrepreneurs, new beginners, new investors, and also people who've been in business for quite some time and having challenging situations. Uh, some ask, how do we get out of these situations and how do we move towards profits? While the new ones are asking, how do we get started? What are the right things to be done to get started? So I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to speak with a subject matter expert, a researcher, uh, my partner Gail Conn, who's been in the research business for a very long time, close to 2 decades, and she comes with a wealth of knowledge and probably qualifies more to answer these questions. So to begin with, I would just welcome Gail to the show. Gail, nice to have you here, and thanks for sharing your time with us, even though it's a Saturday. So, just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you began, how you gathered your expertise, and where you are at today. And let's hear about PhiPower.
Okay. So I've been in the research business 19 years. And this is my second startup company. And the reason we started PhiPower is because market research can be abstract. And getting data, we've learned over the years is that it gets harder and harder when people have shorter attention spans, particularly online. So what we did at PhiPower was we create tools that are completely interactive. They talk, they have video, they have animations, and it gets people to focus better on details. If I'm talking about a product, I want them not only to see the product in one dimension, but I want them to see how it works. And I want them to see if I add a new component to the product or I add something to a label, I want them to be able to see that and interact with it, to be able to not only talk about it, but to see if I say this is better than the old one, I want to be able to compare it and I want to be able to show them that. So it gets us better data because it's much more tactile. And so we created PhiPower to be able to solve evolving problems and to get people richer insights and to be able to look at things because it's a combination of we can deliver quantitative data as well as qualitative data. So it's a combination of those two, and it gives us constantly evolving ways to approach problems. So our tools are very flexible. We're not constrained by the back end of our technology. It allows us to kind of constantly morph and rise to the occasion with problems as they evolve.
Okay, that's very interesting. Now, tell us, Gail, how can beginners who are just starting off in a certain direction use PhiPower to their advantage?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I would suggest anyone call us for a consultation. Either you're a beginner, a business that you're in the middle of, and even a mature business, because there are some very fundamental things when you're looking at market research. First of all, you have to understand who your customer is. How do we define that customer? Then we have to figure out how to find that customer. Market research helps you figure out who that customer is and how to talk to that customer. One of the things that we are, and I'll go into this in a little bit more detail, is we're a full service market research company. So what does that actually mean? We have to find the correct databases we need to use to find your customer. Sometimes it's looking for a needle in a haystack because customers, you know, but we might have to talk to customers in ways that, first of all, we have to find them. So that's one of the things that a full service research company is because we understand where all the databases are and who has the best database to fulfill that need. Then we have to understand how to talk to that customer because quite frankly, whether it's B2B or B2C, people often don't know what they don't know. They say they like something, but then they do something different. So there has to be ways for us to approach customers and talk to them. And it really has taken years to figure out how to write questions that don't lead people to agree with you because we
Right.
want to be as neutral as possible. And sometimes when you're doing, just say, the work yourself, you can't be non-partial because you're so close to the product. You just basically say things, and it's easy for people to agree with you. So my job is to really take a very neutral stance. And that's why a full service company has a lot of different abilities, like being neutral, to being able to find a database, and also building a survey that best serves your needs.
Right, right. That was a fantastic answer. Now, tell us, what do you think about those companies, those businesses that have, I mean, not conducted any kind of a research or a study in the beginning of their launch, be it a
Well,
product or a service, or what about those companies who have done it in the wrong manner? What do you have to say?
Well, I think first of all, if you haven't done it at all, good luck to continue on a trajectory. I mean, the thing is, every business gets to a point where it's doing okay, and then it starts to sputter. I mean, even Apple right now, the iPhone was revolutionary when it came out, but now it's a mature product. Now what? Are people going to continue? What else can they do to the iPhone? I mean, they've obviously worked on the camera, but now what? What do people want? And as there's so much more choice, when there's much more choice in a category, it becomes much more difficult to figure out how to hold on to your market share. So companies
Right,
all need to figure out what they're doing. Even when you start out, you have to say, okay, I've made this product. Now, how do I grow my market? You have early adapters, but then you have to look at people who match that sort of subset of your early adapters to be able to go out to grow your market. That's in the beginning. Uh, then you have companies that are much more mature that things start to flatten out because other people copy them or copycat their product or their service. Then they have to figure out what new they can build on with the people that have adapted that product already. So it's much more expensive when you lose your customer to try and acquire them back.
right,
So it's very important to be talking to your customer on their journey with you to keep them happy, to keep them involved with your service or your product. And that's what market research can do too. We can ask those kinds of questions to find out where your customer is and figure out, well, you're happy now, but what didn't go well? I mean, I've been dealing with, I'll give you another scenario. Company has been involved in business online for a very long time. Yesterday, I called them to try and get through because I wanted to buy something. I
hmm,
tried 4 times. I got through on the 5th time. And I said to them, gee, one of the things you should do when people are online, on hold, on the telephone, why don't you tell them you're 5th in a queue? It's going to take this much time. She said, we don't do that. I mean, how could you not do that? I mean, you then essentially what can happen is they've lost me as a customer because I don't have patience to wait for them to get to me. So that is a very important point for a customer to understand, for this company to understand that they're going to lose customers because people lose patience. They don't want to wait on hold without knowing where they are in the queue. That's a perfect situation that we can understand. How is my customer service? What's it like to call us? And what's your experience? If we could figure that out, they can gain more customers.
right, 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 right. Agreed. Gail, you've had a long track record in the research area. I'm sure there've been a lot of companies that you work with, B2B, B2C, both. And
Yes.
could you just, I mean, just for the benefit of, just having a case study on this interview, maybe just mention one from B2B or B2C in what best ways you have helped them. See, the question here would be, how have you reached them acquire better revenues?
Well,
Or
basically,
maybe
what
contribute
we
contribute towards revenues.
yeah, I mean, essentially, when what we do, for instance, I've worked with a very large cable company in the United States, and they were working on something called the DVR expander, which has to do with recording information. Well, one of the things we started to realize, it's a great product, but it's a
Okay.
little complicated for the average person to use. So
Hmm.
how we were able to help them was to really simplify the instructions. So, and make sure that everybody understood the instructions. And because they could understand the instructions, they're more likely to use the product. They're more likely to continue using the product.
Right.
Okay. So something simple like that is an incredibly good tool, and the company gained a lot of value. Another thing that we did, a giant food company in the United States was looking to refresh their product in terms of their package design.
Hmm.
Well, what we realized was some of the claims on the package, there were too many claims, and it was confusing to people. Use the
Right.
word natural, use the word organic, use the word, vitamins, iron, almost too much information. Uh, so we were able to clean up and simplify the labeling. Their product absolutely looked fresher, cleaner, appealed to a younger audience, and we were able to add some things that were sort of a little bit buzzier now in terms of words that they could use. Product really went through a metamorphosis, and people attributed to the cleanliness of the way we were able to redesign the label.
Good, good, good. Fantastic. Gail, now can we just have a quick recap of how PhiPower compares with similar tools outside?
Yes, yes, of course. So the thing about PhiPower is because we own our back-end technology, we build surveys on the fly. So every time we listen to a problem, our job is to figure out creatively in the interface how to illuminate the problem. And I think that most companies really just don't work on that vein because they have a back end that's a lot more constrained. I mean, our job is to not only be creative problems on the interface, but also on the research side to be very non-partial. And that combination is very unique to us. We really just take on projects that we find very compelling um, because I think market research is very sophisticated and has to be absorbed by the people that are, asking the questions. We can also work with people starting out. I just talked to a company this week who's a pretty mature company, but they're looking to go into another business. And they've never really done uh, RFPs, which are requests for proposals, and they've never really worked in market research. We said, jot down some of your points that are very interesting, and
Mhm.
we'll take it from there. We'll design the whole concept of the program for you, the study, and we'll send it back to you. So you don't even have to do that, even request for proposal. You just have to tell us the outcomes and what problems you're trying to solve. So we're very consultative as well. We'll help small companies, we'll help big companies. It just depends on the scope of the job.
Scope of the job. Agreed, agreed, agreed. Now, most importantly, Gail, how can someone reach you? That's one. And
Yes,
also, just tell us a little bit about your consultations, your free consultations and advice that you offer.
okay. Well, anybody can reach me at Gail at PhiPower.com. That's the perfect way to reach me. And ask me for some of my time. I mean, let me know how I can help you. We get on the phone together and I
Mhm.
can talk you through not only our process, but I can talk you through your problems and how we might be able to solve them. Because research has a lot of methodologies. There's many ways to solve a problem, and we know them all, and we can employ whichever algorithm or whichever kind of question design that we think will solve your problem. We're pretty clear, focused, um, and I think that's the best way to do it is call me and let's jump on the phone, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long, and we'll generate a proposal and tell you the timeline, what it's going to cost, and what it's going to look like, and then we get to work.
Wonderful, wonderful. Uh, Thank you, Gail. Thanks for all the important information that you shared with us. Hopefully, we will be speaking in more depth and detail about
Yes. Okay.
something very specific as a subject in future videos too. This video is actually going to be on your page in almost all your social media sites too. So we would
Yes.
welcome any questions and comments wherever it is shared. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Gail. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Saeed. I really appreciate it. Great.
Thank
Have a
you.
good weekend. Bye
You
bye.
too. Thank you.